Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Kristie Hughes. I am an educational technologist over at NWOCA, which stands for the Northwest Ohio Computer Association. I am also a Google certified educator. And today we welcome you to the TILO Presents. This is number 10 of the webinar series that we are offering through TILO. TILO does stand for the Technology Integration Leaders of Ohio, and I will show you how you can get involved if you are not currently involved as part of the membership. And then also I will show you where our website is and the calendar and so forth, so you can participate in more events if you are able to do so. Okay, so now you should be able to see my screen there. All right, so once again, hopefully you are able to see the Google Plus page, which has all the information with the presentation for today. And again, I'll just kind of scroll through this just again, since you couldn't see it earlier. Here's my name and here is the link to the presentation, so feel free to click on that. Again, that is just a Google slideshow presentation, so just go ahead and make a copy of that and that can go into your Google Drive. Secondly, this tab right up at the top is our TILOhio webpage, so it's just TILOhio.org, and I'll click on this home button once again. And this does pull out to our home page. Here's our membership tab. Feel free to go ahead and fill out this information and you can become part of our group that we send all the information out to, as well as here's our calendar. So feel free to visit that. We have some events that are coming up. Obviously today's webinar is on there, and then we're gonna try to put some more webinars and some more events out there as well. Since this is number 10 of the webinar series for TILO, all of the past webinars have all been recorded through the Google Hangouts on Air, so there are links to all of those previous webinars with the dates and who the host or hostess were for those, or presenters, I should say, for those webinars. So feel free to visit those as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the tab for my presentation for today. Again, and thank you for adding the chats. I'm just looking at this now. So again, feel free to use that chat box and send through questions or comments or anything that you are having problems with, or if you have any questions about anything that I present to you today. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the awesome Chrome apps and extensions for the classroom. Again, my credentials are down there at the bottom. Kind of what I said a little bit earlier, I am an educational technologist over at NWOCA, which stands for the Northwest Ohio Computer Association. I go out to a lot of our school districts and I help implement Google Apps for Education. We do a lot of the training for all of our schools, and we kind of coach them along the way with all the different technology integrations that they may do in and out of the classroom. Second screen I'm going to show you here. Hopefully you're all familiar with the Chrome Web Store. If you are not, everything that I show you today is going to be found in the Chrome Web Store. So you can just go ahead and do a Google search right on Google for the Google Chrome Web Store, or if you have an apps shortcut, you can go ahead and visit the Chrome Web Store. Looks like a little suitcase. Everything that I show you today is free. I will kind of point out some of the apps as we go through, we call freemium, which basically means that it's free to begin with, and then if you add features, then you may have to pay for that, but I will point those out as we go along. Google Chrome, again, I want to point out, sometimes I get this question of, you know, if I add an app or extension to my account, and you know, where is it saved and how do I access it and so forth. So you do want to make sure, and I have a little screenshot here up in the top corner, you do want to make sure that when you are inside of Chrome that you are signed in to Chrome. And this is different than Google Drive. So if you are signed into Chrome, then everything that you do, whether you're adding apps or extensions or so forth, excuse me, those will follow you in the cloud. And that's very important for teachers, students, anybody that is using Google Chrome, because what that means is that you can go to any computer, even a Chromebook, and all of your apps and extensions and settings will then travel with you. So once again, for students especially, all of these apps and extensions can also be put into their accounts. So if you see anything that will be helpful for them, those can be added so that any Chromebook or any computer that they log into, that will travel with them in the cloud as well. So Google Chrome, if for whatever reason, I clicked on this previous slide here, for whatever reason you don't see your name up in the top corner or you're having some problems logging in, you can go to, we call this our hamburger menu, which is these 3 lines up in the top corner of Chrome, and you can go down to settings and just make sure that you are signed into the correct account. You will see also disconnect your Google account down at the bottom. So you also can, if you have a personal Google account, your Gmail account, that would be a separate account. So you can add any of these apps and extensions to numerous accounts depending on how many that you may have. So just kind of keep an eye on which account you're currently in and if you are indeed signed in. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with what is an app, and I'm going to go ahead and go out and show you some of these applications. So what is an app? A web application provided to you by Google Chrome. When you add an app, you can customize Google Chrome, the features that you like and that you use. I took a little picture of the apps launcher. Hopefully you've recognized this before. Some people call it the Rubik's Cube. I've heard it called the waffle menu before. So you will see that if you just go to google.com and you're signed into your account. What is an extension? An extension is something that, an extra feature or functionality that extends the functionality of Google Chrome. I'm a big fan of apps and extensions, but what I like is that they, if there's something that you're doing, maybe it's a daily activity, these extensions can really help you out by doing extra things that may not be available to you in a regular Chrome setting. So it allows you to customize those features. I took a little screenshot down at the bottom. These do appear in your browser bar or in your URL bar, so you will see those listed down there at the bottom. I will caution you, the more extensions that you add, the slower your computer might run, or the slower it may be to load and so forth. So typically what I recommend, it's fine to add as many extensions or install as many extensions that as you want to, but turn them on and turn them off as you need them. And I will show you an extension that can help you do that. So usually what I'll do is I have a lot that are installed, and then I will just go ahead and turn them on and off, daily or hourly or however often that I may need them. So I'll go ahead and go to this next slide, and which is, let's look at some different apps. So we're going to just hop right into some of these different apps that are available in the Chrome Web Store. This first one, Chrome app and extension, is called PicMonkey. Now I'm going to hop out here, and the reason that I said it's an app and an extension is because what it does is I can add it as an app, and it will appear, in my cloud and my Chrome settings and so forth, and I can also add it as an extension. So I'm going to go ahead and hop out here. This is the app. So this is just PicMonkey.com, and I can do some different editing. Now, right now, again, like I said, I am an educational technologist over at NWOCA. Previously, I was a 3rd grade teacher, and I really like this app because what this app allows me to do, I'm just going to click on this little dog here. I'm going to click on edit, and I'll click on this little dog here. I think that if I was doing basic editing for elementary school, and I mean even high school, this is a great tool to use. It's not very sophisticated like Photoshop or some of the other really involved ones. This is a real simple one that I can go ahead and crop. I can change the color. I can resize. I can sharpen it. I can even add a frame if I want to. I can add different frames to my pictures or a drop shadow. I can get the red eye out. I can just do basic edits in this PicMonkey. Another reason that I like it, of course, that I can save it, I can share it, and I can rotate it and do some other things here. So if I save it, I can go ahead and save it to my computer. I can save it to Google Drive. I can save it anywhere I want it to go. So that's what's really nice about this. I can save it as a JPEG file or even a PNG file. And of course, I would want to name it there. Now, the reason why this is an app and an extension is because, of course, I am in the app. But if I had the extension up here, and I don't have it turned on currently, but if I had the extension up here, it would look like a little monkey, same icon as this. And what it would do is if I clicked on it, it would grab every single image of whatever web page I was currently on. So if I was on CNN.com or I was on weather.com or I was on, any particular website and I clicked on that icon, then it would go ahead and pull every single image from that web page. Any image that I want to edit, of course I need to follow copyright rules, but any image I would want to edit, I would just simply click on that image and that image would then be brought into the PicMonkey app for me to go ahead and edit. So that's why it's considered both an app and an extension, but I like how it does a lot of these tools that are free, that are easy, and that, even little children, even little students can go ahead and do that. Now you will notice that some of these, like it has a little icon with a little crown there, that is a paid feature. So you do want to keep in mind that, again, this is one of our, what we call a freemium app. So this is one where most of the features are free, but some of them, like the Photo Corners one, is a paid version or a paid feature. So you do just want to keep that in mind. So that one is PicMonkey. I'm going to go ahead and go to this next one, which is called WeVideo. Now, if you do a lot of video editing, or if your students do a lot of video editing, this is one that you can install in your Chrome profile to have available, so that it's available for you. This kind of reminds me of Movie Maker or iMovie. It allows me to do basic video editing. I will caution you with this one as well. This is labeled as freemium. It allows you, it has the watermark there, and it allows you 5 minutes per month of publishing time. Now, when I first looked at that, I thought, oh, wow, that's a real bummer. But then when I thought about it again, each one of your students can also have an account and use WeVideo. So if you think about the fact that each one of your students then would have 5 minutes per month of publishing time, well, that opens it up a little more. So teachers can assign projects where maybe their students are grabbing pictures or maybe they're grabbing videos. They can add their own narration. They can also add sound. So they're allowed to use this as well because it's per account. So I'm not going to jump into this one for time's sake, but I just want to mention that this is one that if you do a lot of video editing, it might be one that you want to look at. This next Chrome app, Voice Recorder, so kind of to piggyback on WeVideo, this one is free and it allows you to record your voice. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up and I'll use my, my apps launcher here, and I'll just say leave this page, and I'm going to look for the voice recorder, which is right down here. Now, again, I like this one because it's really, really simple to use. I literally just have to click this record button and it starts to record my voice. So if I have a group of students that are maybe reading a story, or if I have a couple students that are working on their speech, or any example there, I can just click record and click stop and then play it and then save it, of course, too. It does save as an MP3 file. And I also like the fact that now I can go ahead and edit it. So then I can have that audio file, I can chop it up, and then I can save it as an MP3 file. At that point, maybe I want to insert it into WeVideo, maybe I want to insert it into, another type of software, or maybe I just want to keep it as an audio file and have those students listen to it over and over again. Could be a set of directions, could be them reading a story. So that is called Voice Recorder. So that's another really good one. I'll go ahead and hop down here. Another Chrome app is the Drive Word Cloud. Now, this one reminds me of Wordle. So I think most of you probably have heard of Wordle before. Maybe you've used it, maybe you haven't. But this one is Google Drive's version of Word Cloud. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll open up a new tab here, and I'll click on my apps. And I'll just open this up for you. And this is called the Drive Word Cloud right down here at the bottom, where I can pull in, I can select a file from Google Drive, or I can just copy and paste text in there from another place. Now I like this because if students are doing reports in Google Docs, or they're looking up information, again with Wordle you're able to see, and I'll hop back over to my screenshot here, all these words that are bigger are words that are used more often. So this is a really good tool to find the main idea pretty quickly as far as just keywords go, or if there's, you know, a word maybe that's used a lot, students can go ahead and see that right away, or, you know, just things of that sort. So under the Drive word cloud, I can also, if I scroll down to the bottom, and I don't have any text in there right now, but you are able to see how I can go ahead and change. Maybe I want to change the orientation. Maybe I want to go ahead and change, if it's, you know, the shape of it, I can change the number of words. And again, I can go ahead and download it as well. So I can even change the font over here. So that's a really good one. And it does have a nice tie-in to Google Drive. So it's really helpful for those of your students or those of your staff that are already using Google, that it does have that nice tie-in. And there's no additional software or anything like that that needs to run for this one to run on your Chromebook or on your Drive or on your laptop or anything like that. So that's a really nice one as well. So I'll hop back over here. And I'm going to go ahead and just kind of talk about all of these subject-specific apps kind of all at the same time, because, you know, when we do these webinars, it's kind of hard to find like different subject areas, because I know there's a lot of people from all over the place teaching various subject areas rather than just to kind of tone into one specifically. But I do want to mention these are some really popular ones, or ones that I feel that are really good in these subject-specific areas. So math, for example. This first one, if you have students that are doing a lot of graphing or doing a lot of algebra for that matter, this is a really good one that you may want to put into the Chrome, your Chrome profile, so that they can use. This math games one is a little bit more elementary. That gives you, it's like a little game almost, where they can have questions and the students will go ahead and respond with the answers, and they have little, like, it's a little like monster that comes over and tells them yes they're right or no they're wrong or so forth. So that's a really nice one for elementary. Spelling, this vocabulary Spelling City, pretty similar to Spelling City for those people that might have used that one before. So that's one that you can put in your Chrome apps, your Chrome profile, so that it's always there, ready to go. Typing Club, if there are people that are, you know, looking for maybe an extra program to help students learn how, you know, those typing skills, this is a really nice one, because what this one allows you to do is it goes through various lessons, lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, where the students just learn home row position and they type in, and it tells them, it even times them as far as like how quickly they can get through it, and then it moves on to the next lesson as they go through. So that's a really nice one too. The science, the 3D solar system web. Anybody that is studying the solar system, this is a really, really cool one, because what this one does is it will just bring a 3D image of the solar system into your screen pretty much. And you can click on all the different apps or all the different planets, and you can get, you know, different facts about them. You can watch little videos. You can do, you know, all those different things. And that is a really nice one, especially if you're studying about the solar system, because, you know, sometimes it's really hard just to see those things in a textbook. Same things with this periodic table. This is one as well where you can go ahead and see all the different elements, and each element that you click on, it does give you more information about that element. So it may pull in some different facts or allow you to kind of see how you know, why it is that they're there and what they do and so forth. So that's really a good one too. I do want to show you this last one, which is called Instagrok. This has kind of become like one of my favorites, and I'm going to go ahead and click on this tab here. Instagrok does remind me of pretty much like a Google search engine, only it gives you a different kind of feedback. So it says research any topic with an interactive concept map. So this gives you more of a map instead of just a list of all the different findings that it might find. So we'll just say Earth here, and I'm just gonna, or aliens, and I'll say grok. So they use this word grok instead of the word search, and that's because it gives you a different result. So I'm gonna move this over a little bit. So this pretty much gives you a nice concept web of all the different terms that may pop up depending on what you're searching on. Now you can put in your account. It's totally free. You can log in, or you don't have to log in. It's totally up to you. There are benefits, of course, to having your own account, and I'll go through some of those things. But if you just want to log in and if you just want to see one, search for one, and then sign out or whatever, that's totally fine as well. So what this Instagrok does is over here, it just says Grok. Again, all of these are just terms that have to do with, and I didn't click fast enough, so I got aliens. But so now I have aliens, and it pulls out like different words that have to do with aliens. Now, if for whatever reason I wanted to say, okay, well, I'm really interested in films. Now I can just do a double click on films, and it pretty much created a Grok on films. So now I have more information that I can go ahead and look at through films. So each one of these, I could double click on it and it would pull up with more information. If you've noticed, each time that I double clicked on it, a little box popped up. Over here now, I have some key facts, which tell me some different things about, whatever it was I clicked on. It even has the source of where they were found. And I can go ahead and pin anything that I want to. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on this pin right here, and it pinned that key fact over here in my Grok. So of course I can move any of these, and I can, move this far out if I wanted to, just to make more room. I also like the fact that over here under websites, it does give me various websites that have to do with that particular topic, as well as videos. Now, I'm certainly not going to click on this video because I don't know what it's going to say about aliens, but you get the idea as far as if I would have clicked on, any other sort of topic, energy, voting, election, rocks and soil, anything like that, because it will pull up whatever videos it might have found based on that topic. I have images, I have concepts, and then I have notes. I also like this note feature because I can add, this is my note, I can add my own note, and there it is. It just popped up, and now it's part of my Grok over here in the corner. So I like this because it gives the students a start in their research, and then you can customize it to how exactly you want it to be. If you notice, each one of these also have this X in the corner. So if I didn't like films, I can go ahead and click the X, and then that is just gone from my Grok, and I can just go ahead and move these around. I also have in the top corner, this is my difficulty level. So I can go ahead and use the slider, and I can slide it over or slide it, to the left or to the right to make it easier or harder based on where I felt I wanted that Grok to be ability-wise. Over here at the top, I also have the option to create a journal. So I'm going to go ahead and click on journal here. Now again, this kind of ties into the whole, it might be better if you have an account, because then all of this is saved in your account. But I can create a journal if I wanted to journal, or maybe even make like a research paper based on whatever it was that I was looking up. And I can use any of the different features that I've pinned over here on the side. So if I wanted to go back through any videos, I can just drag these over, or any images, I can just drag them over into my journal. And then they're part of my journal entry. I also, and you probably saw this already, I also have the option to have a quiz. So if I clicked on quizzes, then this is already created. I did not create this, but I can go ahead and have my students go ahead and take this quiz. Now, if I was logged in, and this is where, again, I'm going to tell you that if you're going to use all these extra features, I would recommend that you have an account. If I was logged in, it will save all of it will save all the quizzes for you. It will grade it for you. It will even have like a little, kind of like a little grade book for you based on how the students did on the quizzes. But that all has to be because you and your students have accounts through Instagram. Totally free, but you have to have accounts. If you don't have accounts, they can still take the quizzes. It just, their score will not be recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and click back on Grok here. I'm going to go ahead and hop out of, the last thing I want to show you about Instagrok here is you do have that share button up in the top. And if I click on share, I can share this Instagrok with anyone. You can see Facebook, Twitter, Google+, all the way down the road. And it's just by a link. You do not need to have an account to click on that link in order to view the Grok, but that is, again, if you want those extra features, you can go ahead and create a free account for that as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click the X here. I'm going to hop out of Instagram. Again, I'm keeping an eye on that chat if you guys have any questions about any of these that I am clicking on. So those are the apps that I was going to show you today. Now the next part of this presentation, I am going to show you some extensions. And again, these extensions, if you are not familiar with extensions, these extensions do live in the top browser bar, your top URL bar up at the top. You can turn them on and off in various ways, and I'll show you how you can do that just here in a little bit. This first extension that I'm going to show you, this kind of became my favorite extension recently because I really didn't know about it until I found it. And this one, and I'm going to hop over to my Drive account so I can show you. This one is called the App Launcher Customizer for Google. So what this allows you to do is in my Drive, so here's my Drive. When I click on my Apps Launcher, or my Rubik's Cube over here, what used to say More now says Configure. And that's because I'm using the Apps Launcher Customizer for Google. So what that allowed me to do is because Google Classroom, we have a lot of districts that are using Google Classroom, and they're unable, by default, Classroom does not appear in your Apps Launcher. So if I've installed this Apps Launcher Customizer for Google, it brings me to a page where I then can put Classroom on my default screen, or maybe I want to take off I don't know, web search. Maybe I want to take off maps, or maybe I want to put something else on. Maybe I want to take off Blogger, whatever. You can really customize this Apps Launcher right here just by installing that Apps Launcher Customizer for Google. If I have it turned off, so you'll see it right in the top URL bar. If I have it turned on, then I have the word configure down here. If I have it turned off, then it will say More again. So you do want to make sure that you have it turned on when you're customizing, because otherwise it will be back to that word More. So, and it says, oh, you can add more than 170 Google shortcuts. So you really, really can customize how you want it to look. This next one, Google Chrome extension, is the Google Docs Quick Create. And this one is a really nice one too, because I'm going to go ahead, I'll just click on Instagram just for this example. And let's say that right now I wanted to create a Google Doc. Well, you know, if I was in Instagram, I have to close it. I'd have to go back to Drive and go to New and create a document. With this Google Docs Quick Create, I literally can just click right on it, and now I get the option to create a new document, a new spreadsheet, new presentation, new drawing, new form. I don't have to go back to Drive to do that. So that's why I really like that one. Of course, if I'm logged into Chrome or I'm logged into Drive, it's not going to prompt me to log in anymore because I'm already logged in. But I really like this one because, you know, I'm sure we all probably use Google Drive a lot. And it's just a little bit faster for me to create those documents depending on what website I may or may not be on currently. So this next one that I'm going to talk about, the Chrome extension, which is Share to Classroom. Now I'm not really sure which districts are using Google Classroom currently and which ones are not, but for those that are using Google Classroom, this is a really, really nice one. So what this one will allow me to do, and I'll just go to CNN right here. And let's say that, you know, I'm signed into Google Drive and I'm signed into Google Chrome already, so it's not going to prompt me to sign in. But let's say for whatever reason, this CNN article, I wanted my history class to see this article, my Google Classroom history class to see this article. So if I click on Share to Classroom, so I have it right up here and I click one time on it, it will pull all of the classes that I'm currently teaching and the classes that I'm currently enrolled in, depending on if I'm a student or a teacher. And I'm going to click on History Period 3. It will give me the option to automatically push this article to my students in that class, or I can go ahead and even use this article to create an assignment. So I don't have to copy the link. I don't have to, you know, do all those little steps. I can certainly just click right on that extension and it will hop right into Google Classroom for me. So I can ask a question or I can make an announcement. I can even open Classroom down here at the bottom if I really wanted to see, you know, Classroom. But if I pushed it to students, that automatically, instantly will push it to students as long as the students have this extension as well. So at the very beginning of this webinar, I talked a little bit about the fact that you can add these apps and extensions to your account, of course, and then you can also add them to students' accounts. So if you have some, cool apps and extensions, you can put those on the student account so that whenever the students sign in to any Chromebook or any computer, those apps or those extensions would automatically show up. And this particular one, this Share to Classroom, does need to be installed in the students and the teachers' accounts to work. If the teacher just has it, it won't work as nicely because the students do need to have it to receive it. So that's just something to make a note of. But I really like this one because if you have Classroom, it just makes it so much easier to move things back and forth depending on, if you're on the fly finding things for your classes. Of course, if I'm in YouTube, that would be another example. If I'm in YouTube and I want to share that YouTube video with my class, I can go ahead and pull up Share to Classroom, click on the class, and then that YouTube video would be right there if I want to make an assignment or ask a question or just push it out entirely. So that's a nice one, Share to Classroom. All right, this next one is called Ad Block. Now this is one that I actually have on. Again, I kind of told you in the beginning, I turn them on and turn them off. This is one that I have on all the time. So it blocks YouTube, Facebook, and ads everywhere else on the web. And I'll show you, I pulled up YouTube a little bit earlier, and I just typed in youtube.com and I did a search on YouTube. And what you'll notice, this ad block right here, now it has the number 5 right next to it because it will block all the ads that might be coming on from any website that I may be viewing. So it's just grabbing all those ads and it's not letting me see them as a viewer. So that is just one that I have on all the time. And you can click for details and find out, what exactly, if there's certain things that you want to customize and so forth. But that is one that kind of runs for me in the background, and I just have it on all the time. So I'll hop back over here again. This next one is called the Google URL, or the GOO.GL URL shortener. So this one I probably use, I don't know, a few times a day. This is a really popular one for me because when I do these presentations, for this presentation, we'll just give this example. For this particular Google slideshow presentation, I did put the long URL out on the Google Plus page for our TILO Google Plus account. However, I could have shortened the website and put the GOO.GL URL shortener out there too. Either way would have worked, but I like this because when we go to do these presentations, or if you guys go out to different conferences and so forth and you're doing presentations, it's not really ideal to have people type in a really crazy long URL. So with this URL shortener, and just to show you, for example, if I click right on this URL shortener, it automatically shortens this long URL to this really short URL. Now, if I would give this shortened URL to anybody, they can go ahead and type that in, or they can copy and paste it into their browser, and they would automatically be redirected to this presentation with this crazy long URL. So this is a really neat one to use. I also like that it automatically creates a QR code for you. So I can go ahead and click on QR code right there. And if I would take a screenshot of that QR code, I can paste that QR code anywhere I want to. And then anybody that had a smartphone or an iPad or really any device that had an app on it to read QR codes, they can go ahead and scan that QR code, and then it would again go directly to my presentation. So that's a really nice tool as well. There's lots of different people that are using QR codes in the classroom. If you are creating videos and putting them out on, your Google site, or maybe you're putting them out on YouTube, you have a YouTube channel, lots of different ways to, post videos and do different things. If you want to have easy access for your, stuff, you can go ahead and create that QR code and paste it anywhere you want to, and people can go ahead and see that. I just saw something through the chat. I hope everyone's still able to see my screen. If you can't, please let me know. I just saw something through the chat, but hopefully you can still see. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next window, so hopefully everybody can still see me. Okay.
Yeah, I think so, Kristie.
Okay, good. All right, so Google URL shortener. The last thing about the Google URL shortener, you can track details from your link if you're logged in. So again, if I go ahead and click on this and I click on details, if I am signed in, this will keep track of, and again, I haven't done this website yet, so it says total clicks is 0. But if I use this website and I share it out with parents or I share it out with staff, this will keep track of how many times that people have seen or used that shortened URL. And it will also keep track of the browsers. It will also keep track of what countries they were in, who clicked on my link, and then what platform they were on. And the best example I have with this one, since I was a previous teacher, is if you're creating a teacher website and you're promoting it to parents and staff and students and so forth, I would use this Google URL shortener and make it a shortened URL, and then keep track of how often people are going out to your classroom website, to your teacher website. So that way you can kind of make sure that people are using it and really promote it, all that hard work that you've done. So that's a really nice thing about the Google URL shortener as well. So I'll go ahead and hop back over to my presentation here, and I'll go on to the next one, which is called Draftback. So this one called Draftback, again, it's labeled as an extension. It will appear as this little D up in the top URL bar, your top browser bar, but really it's helpful if you are in a Google Doc. So I have this link here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this Google Doc. And when this goes out, if my Draftback extension is turned on, so it has to be turned on, then when this loads up, I will see a little button right here that says Draftback. Now, if I click on Draftback, now we previously did a Google Day at NWOCA, so this was our agenda, and a bunch of us put in lots of information in this Google Doc. So if I click on Draftback, what it does is it will play for me in video form all of the revisions that were done on this document. Now, most of you probably know that if I go under File and go to See Revision History, I can see a list of all the revisions that were done in this document. But let's say I didn't really want to do that. I just wanted to see it in video form of all the revisions that were done. So what it does now is it goes ahead and it finds, or it will play a video form of all the different revisions that have been done. I can pause it. I can play it faster. I can play it at actual speed. I can even go to the document graphs and statistics, and it will show me when people did it, how many revisions they did, and so forth. So it will show all of that information there. So that's really cool. But the nicest thing I think about Draftback is the fact that if a student turns in a document, a Google Doc to you, and you want to see, we're always worried about plagiarism and copyright and so forth. If I have Draftback on there, it's really nice because all of a sudden you may see like 3 pages worth of information being dumped onto the Google Doc rather than somebody typing it out. So if that's the case, they probably copied and pasted it rather than just typing it. So that's a really nice thing about Draftback, where it will allow you to go ahead and see that in video form. It is the same thing as that file revision history because Google tracks all of that stuff. But just know that with Draftback, it does put it in that nice video form. And that does appear when you're inside of a Google Doc. So I took a couple screenshots there, and it does, depending on how many revisions that you may have, it does show you a little number there. So my next one, my Chrome extension, Speak It. So this is a really nice one. We had some districts that were using this for reading tests to students. So if you had something where you wanted, if you didn't have enough people to help or you needed a test read to a student, you can use Speak It. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll go out to CNN over here, and I don't know that I have my volume up here, but if I clicked on Speak It, it will go ahead and I can even have it read a whole document for me if I wanted to, or I'll click over here just to make it a little bit easier. I can have it read
5678910 Google Day full agenda with session description 7.4.
Okay, so you get the idea. So I can go ahead and have it read a whole document, or if I just wanted maybe a paragraph, I could just highlight that particular paragraph and have Speak It read that paragraph for me too. So either way will work, but this is a really nice extension because it helps, you know, if I needed some tests read to multiple students or just things read in general and I didn't have enough people to really do that. The other thing that it does is if I do a right click on this, or control click if you're on a Mac, and go to options, I can go ahead and customize, you know, how exactly I want Speak It to be. So if I want the volume to be louder, or maybe the speaking rate to be slower or faster, or maybe I want the voice to be different, and you'll notice here you have different languages. So I can even have different articles read in different languages if I wanted to do that. So lots of different options with Speak It, and just as easy as installing it and then doing a right click right on the icon in your browser bar up here and kind of customizing the way that you might want Speak It to act for you. All right, so I'm going to go back here. And my next one is called the one-click timer. Now, again, this is pulling from my former experience as a teacher. And if you need to time your students or time, you know, an activity or something for your students, there are so many different websites out there and so many different things that you can go and find a timer, or even, you know, like if you have one sitting on your desk or whatever, you can use all of that stuff. But the reason why I like this one is because I'm currently in a Google Doc and maybe, or a Google presentation, and maybe I want to stay in this Google presentation. So what I can do up at this point is I can just turn on, just by clicking right on that one-click timer, and it will just pull up a timer for me. So I can go ahead and say, I want this timer to go off in 3 minutes. Now I don't even need to have that up. It's going to show me 3 minutes up in the top corner, so I can tell when it's going to go off. And it will just continue to count down while I'm doing my presentation. If I need to look at it at any point in time, of course, I can go ahead and pull it up. Or I can even make it full screen. If I wanted to make it full screen, I can go ahead and do that. But lots of times, you know, with timers, I don't know, sometimes I think it stresses the students out if it's like really, really big and there, and then they focus on it. So this one is nice because you can still do other stuff, but still have that timer running. Or to flip the example around, let's say that you need a timer for yourself before you leave for your next meeting, or for you have to make a phone call or so forth. You can turn that on for any particular example whatsoever, and then it will go ahead and, you know, count down for you as you're doing your work. So that's going to go off here in 2 minutes. I can even turn that off if I wanted to. I'll make it even shorter so you guys can see it. But again, that's a really nice one. Have it up here in your browser bar. So another one is called Move It. And this one kind of stems from the fact that, and I read this article the other day that was talking all about how some people, you know, we have physical education and gym classes and so forth where we, you know, obviously encourage the students to get out and do some sort of activity, but activity should definitely not stop there. So, and even for people like me, if I, you know, sit in the office or you guys sit at your desk, it's really helpful to have a silly extension like this, a really nice extension really, called Move It, where it can basically go off anywhere from 5 to 55 minutes, and it basically tells you to get up and move. And it sounds kind of silly, but here's a screenshot of it, and what it does is if I told it I want it to go off every 55 minutes, well, there's my other timer. If I told it I want it to go off every 55 minutes, what it will do is it will come across every single tab in Google Chrome with this big red screen that says, hey, get up and move. And it will even come across with a suggestion of an activity that you can go ahead and do. Now, the activity is literally like anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes. Like it may say like do 10 jumping jacks, or it may say jump up in the air 20 times or something. But it's just those different activities that to get you up and moving. So we can use that while we're teaching. If we need to have the students get up and take a break, we can do that. or we can use that for ourselves or for both. But I think that it's a really cool one that really, because lots of times if you're like me, you kind of lose track of time, and then here you are sitting for a long period of time. So that's a really nice extension to kind of put in your browser bar and use if you need to use that. All right, so this next one is called Extensity. Now, at the beginning of the webinar, I talked a little bit about that I would show you one that you can kind of manage all of these apps and extensions, and using Extensity is how I do that. So if I've installed Extensity, and this is another extension that I have running all of the time. So when I click on Extensity, this will show me all of the different apps and all the different extensions that I have. And you may be looking at my screen and thinking, oh my gosh, she has so many. And I do. And if you remember at the beginning, I told you, the more that you have active, the slower your computer may or may not run. So I have a lot. I have a lot of extensions and a lot of apps installed. However, I don't have them all running currently. So by using Extensity, I can turn them on or turn them off with Extensity. So I can just click on Extensity, and if I want to turn Cisco WebEx on, I can just click right on it, and now it appears in my top URL bar. Or I can turn it off. If I want to turn off DraftBack, then the D will then go away. But this is kind of how I manage all of my apps and extensions, and extensions really by turning them on and off just by using Extensity. If you choose not to use Extensity, I mean, there are others out there. You also can go to your little hamburger menu in the corner and go down to Settings, and then you can go out to your extensions and turn them on or off, or disable them or delete them or whatever. But I just choose to do all of that in Extensity. It's faster for me, and it just works better for me. All right, this last one that I'm going to talk about here, and I'm going to hop out of this presentation in a minute and go out to a different account. And this one is called Boomerang for Gmail. Now, we have a lot of districts that are kind of migrating over to Gmail. And so this is one that I really see as being kind of popular because it does some really neat features in Gmail. So I do have listed here, there is a free version. There's also a paid version. The options that I'm going to show you right now are the free options. But there are also ones that, if you really like it and you want to extend your, function with Boomerang, you can go ahead and pay for it and get some extra features. But a couple of things that I'm going to show you right now that are free, you can schedule your messages to send at a specific date and time. So lots of times, maybe Friday afternoon or Friday morning or so forth, you want to send out a really important email, and Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock may not be the best time to send out that really important email. So you can use Boomerang to go ahead and schedule that message so that it will then send out maybe at 9 a.m. Monday morning. But you can type it all out on your Gmail. So someone said something about that you're not seeing drop downs when you click on the okay. So I'll try to, when I go out to Gmail, you should be able to see that stuff. So here's my Boomerang. So if I go out, and I'm gonna hop over, let me go to Gmail. And here's my Gmail account. Now, if I compose a new message, so here's my message, and I'm going to compose a message to, we'll compose a message to myself there. And what you're going to see is, if I make this a little bit bigger so you can see it, way down at the bottom, what we used to see in Gmail is that my screen would end with this send button down there. But now, since I've installed Boomerang, I now have this extra option or extra feature that I can send later. So if I type out a message, and here's my message, and again, my example was the fact that maybe it's Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and I want to send this message, but I want people to really receive it Monday morning at 9 o'clock. I don't want them to receive it Friday at 4 o'clock. So I can click on Send Later. And so what I'm seeing at Send Later is, once I type out my whole message, I can tell it, I want you to send this message on 4/29 at 8 a.m. Or I want you to send out the message, and I can even pull up a calendar. I want you to send the message at 4/28 at 5 o'clock or 4:30 or whatever time it may be. When I click on confirm, then this message, it schedules the message, and this message will then sit in my account and it will go out at that particular time to whoever I might have sent it to. So that's what I think is really nice about Boomerang, because I don't have to, if I'm ready to send this message now, I can go ahead and type it up now, but it doesn't have to send right away. The other thing that I can do in Boomerang is, I'm going to click on send later again. I can schedule reoccurring messages. So let's say every Monday morning, I send a message as a reminder to a new group. And I can go ahead and don't know, someone's chatting about not being able to see my screen. Oh. There's me. Someone was saying that they couldn't see my screen. So I'm gonna hop over here again and see if I can reset this.
I could see the Gmail stuff.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Let me go back here. Click on here. All right. Go here. Okay. Hopefully everybody can see my Gmail now. So I'm in Gmail again, so I can compose a message. I'll kind of just pick up where I was with send later. When I click on send later, I can schedule reoccurring messages. So again, my example for that was if I had a message that every Monday morning I had to send out a reminder, I can go ahead and send reoccurring messages, and it will automatically go out, and I don't have to say anything, or I don't have to do anything on the back end. So assuming I would just type out my message here with all of the people, and then I can go ahead and send it later and have it reoccur every Monday morning at 8 a.m. or whatever example you might want to use. So that's really nice with Boomerang. The last thing I'm going to show you here with Boomerang is that and this is my test account, so I have lots of like junk emails in here. So I'm going to pull up this Barney Rubble one, which was from Google Classroom. And here's my example with this one. Let's say that this message, again, it's from Barney Rubble, so it's kind of silly, but let's say that it was a relatively important email and it came through, and I'll flip my example here. Let's say it came through at 4 o'clock on a Friday, and I said, okay, well, this message is really important. I don't want it to get buried. So what I want to do is I'm going to check the box for my Barney Rubble message, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Boomerang here. So because I have it installed, I now have this option to just click on this button called Boomerang, and I can literally have this message remove itself from my Gmail account and then come into my Gmail account again, maybe in 2 days, or maybe tomorrow morning, or maybe in 2 weeks, maybe in a month. Maybe this message was talking about something that I wasn't really ready to address. So I can remove it from my Gmail account and then have it reappear in a month or in 2 days or in 4 days or whatever. The nice thing about that then is it bumps it to the top of my inbox. So it doesn't get buried, it just goes ahead and bumps it to the top of my inbox, and then Monday morning or the next day or the next week or next month, whatever it may be, I can go ahead and see that message again. It kind of puts it as like a new message. So then I can go ahead and respond appropriately to that message. So nice thing about Boomerang, it does all those three things. Those are considered the free versions or free features of Boomerang. Boomerang does a lot more than that if you do get a subscription for it, which it does lots of cool things. But just using the free version, which is what I have, it will allow me to do all those different things. And I really like all the features that it does, sending later and so forth, and then being able to boomerang it out and have it come back in as well. So I'll hop back over to my presentation here, which brings me to the very end of my presentation. And I was kind of watching the chat a little bit. I know there were some people that were not seeing my screen. Oh, someone said, can you revise or add to a reoccurring message? Yes, that's a great question. I'm gonna go ahead and click back on Gmail here. And if I go up to, and before when I clicked on this box for this message, you saw this boomerang pop up, which allowed me to kind of compose and tell it exactly what I wanted to do. But once I do all of that, I have now a boomerang icon over here next to my name in Gmail. And this is where I can really manage anything that I told Boomerang to do already. So I can manage scheduled messages. Now this is my training account, so I probably don't have too much in here. But here's all my messages, messages to send later, reoccurring messages, tracked messages, and so forth. So it will keep track of everything that you told it to do. So then at this point, I can go ahead, if I did have a reoccurring message, I can go ahead and check that box and alter it and change it, and then, you know, it will go out and be upgraded to, or I'm sorry, updated to whatever you made it, you know, whatever you might have changed. So that's, again, what's really nice about all of those things with Boomerang. So I'll just hop in here in the chat box one more time, see if there's any other questions. Okay, hopefully everybody was able to see my screen there. I know there was someone that was not able to see it, but I'm gonna hop back over. We are just about at 4:30, so that does conclude my presentation. Just as a reminder, I'm gonna hop back out to this Google Plus page for TILO, and just as a reminder, I do have the link to my presentation that is below the information to get connected for today. And feel free to, if you want to make a copy of that, feel free to go ahead and do that. Obviously, you can contact me if you have any other questions or comments about anything that I might have showed you. I do want to reference you to the session evaluation. If you can go ahead and complete that once you're finished with this, you know, at any point in time, that does give us some really nice feedback as far as, you know, what people are having questions on, comments, or experiencing on their end, of course, with the webinars. And again, I want to point you to our TILO webpage, which is the Technology Integration Leaders of Ohio. I did mention this at the beginning, but just to kind of say it again in case people missed it at the beginning, if you are not a member, we would encourage you to become a member using the membership tab up at the top. Feel free to fill that out and become part of our become part of our group, TILOhio. And then our calendar is here, and then obviously all of the recorded webinars are here as well. I am the top one, which was number 10, but we did start as early as November of last year, so feel free to go ahead and you know, visit those as well. So I'll go ahead and hop back over here, stop sharing, so you can see my voice one more time. So thank you so much for attending our webinar, which was the awesome Chrome apps and extensions for the classroom. Again, my name is Kristie Hughes. If you have any questions, I'm going to stay in the chat box and stay connected to the Google Hangout. If you have any questions or any comments, feel free to stay in there. I will look at those again. I just kind of scrolled pretty quickly through them, but I will go ahead and look at those again. But thank you again, and have a great rest of your day.